Good evening, everybody. How are you all doing? All three of you concurrent viewers. Cheers. Welcome to the stream. Let's mute that. Well, I missed you guys last week. Had some personal things to take care of. But here we are, yet again. You know, it's already another Thursday. And I figure we'll just do some Q&A, and I'll give you guys some updates. What's going on? Let's see, tonight for the Whiskey Cam. This, of course, still the Highland Park. Like I said, I really only drink it with you guys. You guys are my buddies. So we got a couple more weeks left in that one. I'm open to start taking some suggestions on what we should go for the week or whatever we should do after this bottle. But for now, back to the this camera here. Don't abuse the mic. Oh, the cheers? Oh, whatever. It's just, yeah, come on, man. That's how I cheers you guys. It's not the MK416. It's just the Synco Mic D2. So it's, you know, I'm not too worried about it. Oh yeah, the comments. Here we go. Boom. Let's get those up there. Don't abuse your mic like that. Thanks for showing up, Epos Vox. Always appreciate you and all your videos as well. So I've got the lighting set up for tonight. We've got just the a new light from Lupo, which is they redid their Dayled 1000, which I'll show you here. Actually, I could just point the camera up at it. It's right there. It's a Fresnel. It's their Dayled 1000, which is in between their 650 and their 2000. It is the bicolor edition, so it goes from tungsten to daylight, and I've got it at about 20-30% power. I'll tell you, one second. Yeah, 32% power, and over here I've just got the Rotolight Titan X2. I suppose I could show you that one as well. Right there as my key, and that's it. That's all I've got. Just two lights tonight. Kept it simple. You don't always gotta spend a whole bunch of time setting everything up. That's why I've got a whole studio. Everything's supposed to be set up all the time, right? So that's it. Just two lights tonight. Nothing crazy. Thought I would keep it easy. And let's get some questions going here if anyone's got any. While you guys think of those, I did get a new thing into my studio. Let's get it. So actually, I bought this because I wanted to get better at my thumbnail design, as well as kind of a little creative outlet. It is the Wacom Intuos Pro, medium size. It's a pen tablet, right? So this little pen, I don't know if you've ever used the Wacom tablets. This is new to me, but you draw on it. It's like, and then it registers the pen strokes on your computer. And it works really, really well. It's like you're using an actual pen or a pencil. And I opted for this instead of the Cintiq, which actually has a screen, or like an Apple Pencil or something, because I wanted the only input to be the pen, so I didn't really care about the touch capabilities. This has it, I just turn it off. But I didn't want my hand to get in the way of what I was using it for. So I got this, and I've just been kind of playing with it, and I have an idea for a project I want to do in regards to animation, and this was the first step of that, because trying to rotoscope or trace over anything in terms of creating animations seemed like an impossible task unless I could have an analog input like a pen. And after all my research, I figured this was going to be the best thing for me. I think that it's still going to take a little bit more getting used to, because it's not natural for me yet. Like just actually doing the pen stroke and then having it show up on the screen, it still feels a little foreign, like I miss. Like if I was tracing something like an actual picture, like I wouldn't do that. But I guess everyone that uses these things after a couple weeks, it just feels natural, and then you don't have that problem anymore. So that's a little kind of creative thing I did, and I'm using this to use the dodge and the burn tools for creating thumbnails, because I feel like it's a fun, natural way to learn how to use it. I don't know, just some little fun thing that I wanted to try. So far, I really like it. And then I got some more lights coming into the studio that we'll talk about soon, but they're not here yet, so that's where I'm at. How's your guys' past couple weeks been? Anything special happen to you? I released my video on my Stream Deck setup stuff, which lets me automatically pick videos, play clips, and then I improved it to switch back to my main camera after the clip is over, which I haven't demonstrated on this live stream yet because I had to finish writing the code before the last time I live streamed, and I'll give you a little demo of what it does with a 10-second clip here. I know that this is repeat for some of you that watched my most recent video, but if you haven't, then this is really, really cool. Let me find that little 10-second clip that I always use. YouTube, render. So I pick a video in my Finder, and then I just hit this button, and then it should play the clip over the stream and then switch back to this camera when this clip is finished. And it all worked perfect. So that's what it's supposed to do. It works really well. And of course, I could talk over it if I wanted to. And that's what I demonstrated in my most recent video. And I think it's ideal for anyone that's trying to show videos over a live stream of things that they've made. Because everything else that I've seen, like the HyperDeck Mini and all that stuff, you need to preload clips onto an SD card, and then you have to jog through and select them, and that's just a pain in the ass. I just wanted to have a button that I would hit that would take the clip from Finder and then play it over OBS through the A10 Mini Pro, and then switch back to my main camera when I was done. And that's it. And it does it perfect. Yeah, I really like it. What do you recommend as a lower cost alternative to the 120D Mark II? Well, do you have the Aperture 60X? Because that one costs about $400. I dare I say it is more versatile than the 120D Mark II, although it won't have the intensity of the 120D Mark II. So if you need the intensity, then I would look at some of the Godox options. Possibly, I did a few reviews on various Godox lights. I think one of my favorites is the SL150 Mark II, because it has the fan on and off button. That's probably the like a solid buy that I would recommend there. What is up, Swemitra? I think I pronounced that super wrong, but I tried. I'm well. Thank you for asking. Dan Quixote, morning Tommy. My girlfriend has a Wacom, a new MacBook Pro M1, and now teaches drawing online. It's an amazing little tool. Yeah, thanks for showing up, Dan. So far I've been absolutely impressed with the device. The thing that was most important to me was no latency. And that's why I ended up going with a Wacom tablet, Wacom tablet, because there was no latency. And that was like the most important thing for me to try and learn how to use that tool as an input. Morning from Europe, and good evening from Los Angeles. What streaming software am I using? I am currently using the A10 Mini Pro out through the Ethernet into the router directly. That's it. So the camera goes into my A10 Mini Pro, and that's what you're seeing. For my audio, I'm using the MixPre 3 Mark 1, and that's going into the A10 Mini Pro's Mic 1. And then to control the stream, I am using the Stream Deck, of course, this little guy right here, and that will allow me to, you already know everything about the Stream Deck EPOS box. You guys should go to, if you have any questions about learning how to use streaming software or the technology of the Stream Deck and stuff like that, go subscribe to his channel, everybody. He's extremely informative. very knowledgeable person, great streamer, cool dude all around. Yeah, so that's just what I'm using. If you need any specific details about what I'm using to stream, shoot the questions. Oh, and for the comments, I'm using Aaron Parecki's comment extension. That's all covered in my most recent video. Question, I'm using the Nanlite 4 as a 60, got the regular softbox, was considering getting a bigger one. What's the question? Oh, here we go. Mainly for a better spread of light. Thoughts? Yeah, if you want softer light, a bigger softbox will do that. You could also get a large reflector. You could also get something a little more versatile, like the Intelitech fast frames, which is like a 4.5 by 6 foot frame that folds out. And you can get different materials or different kinds of fast frames. There's the diffusion kind. There's also reflectors and flags. But you can get more use out of your light other than just a softbox. There's a lot of really fun modifiers to play with. Godox VL150 is a great alternative. Agreed. I can call you Sue. All right, I'll try and remember. Roland says, hang on, before we get into this one, let's go over to the whiskey cam, take a little cheersies, because I'm getting dry. All right, back into the action. Got my Falcon Eyes RX18 TDX2s and the RX29 TDX. As you said, they're great lights, and it's easy to control light directionality and eliminate reflections with the included modifiers. Awesome. I'm glad that worked out for you. I've always really liked Falcon Eyes lights. I know some people have some mixed feelings about them, but they're really nice. Oops. What mic and interface is it? I'm using the Synco Mic D2 and the Mix Pre 3 Mark 1, not the Mark 2. You don't need the Mark 2 if you're doing live. The Mark 1 will give you equivalent quality because you can't use 32-bit audio over a live stream. And there's details on why, but if you're going live, you only need 24-bit audio, and the Mix Pre 3 Mark 1 will serve that, so you can get one used for cheaper if you are in the market for something like that. That's it. And that goes directly into the A10 Mini Pro. And yes, Harry, the whiskey cam. You can never forget the whiskey cam. Because, it's like a character in my live streams. You've always got to have it, Because whiskey, it's awesome. I feel like I should switch out these graphics and maybe put some like animated graphics. Maybe I'll draw something. I don't know. Let's go back to. Oh yeah, and if you guys ever want to continue the social media conversations after these live streams, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. I made this graphic right here, this little bird thing with the Instagram. And see the Instagram dot? I made it the eye. It's fun. Oh, so you have the Stream Deck controlling the ATEM. Wowzers. Yeah, so I figured all that out. So with BitFocus Companion, you can link up the Stream Deck to control the ATEM, pretty much anything on the ATEM Mini Pro or the ATEM Mini ISO, all the ATEMs. You can activate macros. I can turn on and off the downstream key like that. And here, check this out. When I hit the downstream key, that turns on, like the light goes orange, it goes off, turn it off. It works really well. And so then you can chain macros into other actions, like running a shell script or activating other things on the A10 Mini Pro without having to create a whole new macro. The Stream Deck and the A10 Mini Pro is like the perfect combination. So I use it to activate shell scripts to automatically resize all of my my comment window into OBS. Actually, to shut OBS off, to resize the comment window, activate the comment viewing extension, relaunch OBS with an updated config, and then I also use it to switch out clips for my instant clip button, which if I'm playing clips over the live stream, for example, I wanted to switch out. So the last one I showed you was this red sunset, right? I'm going to reset the camera now. And then if I wanted to show a different clip, I would just hit a button, boom. I can play any clip attached to my computer, whether it's an external hard drive or it's just on my computer. Whenever I can select it with Finder, I can then play that clip over my live streams. But that's only thanks to being able to activate shell scripts through the Stream Deck with BitFocus Companion. So highly recommend that software. You can do as good as a programmer as you are, you can build whatever you want. There's also a lot of stuff you don't need to be a programmer to figure out how to do. That's how I set up my little whiskey cam activating macro like this. And you can switch out the things on your, the media things, how you can store 20 images in the A10 Mini. You can switch those out just by clicking a button without actually having to manually open up the ATEM control software. That's all that is. I'm switching out the downstream key image. So that's how those all work. It's fantastic. Morning, Tommy, and thank you for your service to YouTube. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for thanking me. You'd think I was Canadian. Epos Fox. Does the ATEM software have the comment featuring thing you're using, or is that something else? That's news to me. Oh, don't shout me out. Thank you. Yeah. So no. So the comment feature thing that I'm using is an extension on Chrome created by Aaron Parecki. Now, in order to activate the comment extension, you need to open up the pop-out chat and then resize the pop-out chat window, and then take the URL, close that window, put it into a new window, and then activate the extension and reload the window. And then you can customize the sizes. So what I did was I made a button that did all that in 1 second instead of taking 5 minutes to figure it out. But the extension itself that does all these comments and stuff like that, that's from Aaron Parecki. And he has an excellent video on how to install it, how to set it up, and how to use it with the A10 Mini Pro. In my most recent video, there's a link directly to his video explaining that. And so go watch that if you want to learn about how this extension works. It's great. Very easy to do with BitFocus Companion. Right. Oh, we got a super chat over here. Let me scroll down and find it. Oh, disregard your last question. Here we go. Thanks for all the hard work putting these shows together. Oh, well, thank you, Richard. And here, you get a cheersies for the super chat. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Not necessary, but I truly appreciate you deciding to give me money for this. It means a lot to me. I think you're asking if they're dynamic or condensers. They're condensers with supercardioid or... Well, I don't know who you're answering specifically. Oh, here we go. There's a question of a retracted message. Do you recommend any dynamic shotgun for untreated room with a size of 20 feet by 16 feet? That's a... Yeah, I mean, so... Dynamic and condenser microphones are different technology, you know. It depends. It really depends on what you're using to drive the microphone and how you're going to be using the microphone, what you expect to get out of it, what the noise is like. I use condenser microphones. These shotgun microphones that I use are condenser microphones, and because my room, this little studio, has no real sound treatment to speak of, and you'll always see the microphone in my videos, that's not because it's a stylistic choice, it's a functional choice because of the inverse square law, and I'm using the proximity effect to my advantage. The closer you are to a microphone, the better it's going to sound because of your proximity to it. Because you're closer to that microphone is going to be receiving a more loud signal, a clearer signal from your voice than all of the noise around it. But if I put this microphone really far away from me, you're going to hear all the room noise, because right now I hear water running and there's reverb in here. So I'm going to scoot away from my microphone and you're going to hear the difference. It probably doesn't sound quite as good when I'm just 3 or 4 feet away from the microphone. I'm talking louder, so there's more reflections. You can probably hear some room noise. But when I get nice and close to the microphone, it sounds like I'm in a sound treated studio. So the microphone's close to me in most of my videos because I'm trying to use proximity to get better sound quality. Tommy, your lighting setup today reminds me of closing time in the nightclub when they turn up the harsh white lighting and usher everyone out onto the street. Yeah, that's just one. Yeah, if sometimes you need to simulate that effect, and that's what I'm doing tonight. Just went with a harsh kind of hard light over here. The whiskey cam has got the nice shadows over here. So, the whiskey isn't really that, it's not really, if I was in a club or a bar or something, or, just in a very well lit room in the right environment to have whiskey, I don't think that I would want like a really hard light on me. So yeah, I could see what you're saying there, but I kind of like to look for other things. What is up, Ruben? Thank you for showing up. And we covered this, but thank you again. Damn it, Tommy. Hi, everyone. Yeah. Spruce Tower says, your Play Any Video hack, the Stream Deck video, was excellent. Do you know anything about Mix Effect 1.0.2 app? No, I don't know anything about it. And maybe it would have saved me the whole weekend I spent coding this, if it covers those features. So no, I have no knowledge of that app. If the A10 Mini had 4K pass-through, even if not 4K streaming, I'd be sold. But I have a 4K video on demand workflow that I also use for live, and I'm not willing to sacrifice for live. Come on. Yeah, I feel like if they released the A10 Mini Pro 4K, I think it would sell like hotcakes. I'd probably buy one too. I tried doing a 4K stream a couple years ago, and the lag, the latency between when I actually created the content or the video and when it would actually show up on the live stream was like 30 or 40 seconds. And I feel like that was just way, I didn't like that. It didn't feel like a live stream anymore. So, if that's improved significantly, then I feel like we're ready for 4K. If you're looking for an out-of-frame mic for spoken word, the Audio Technica AT4035 works quite well. Yeah. For pretty much any microphone that anyone asks me to recommend, I always go with the MKH416. It's such a great all-around mic for anything. You can use it for voiceover, you can use it for out-of-frame capture, just spoken word, for Foley sound effects. You can use it for anything, but it's also $1,000, so there's that. I got my MKH416 used, and I got it for $700, and I know that it's authentic. I actually took the microphone apart and inspected the circuit board to make sure that it wasn't a ripoff, which you can do. So if you're going to buy a used MKH416, you should look up videos on how to do that too. Hello from Singapore. What time is it for you? It's a great to catch live. Well, thank you. It's 10:30 p.m. over here. So because of that, we're having some whiskey. Cheers. "4K streaming is years away. I love my A10 Mini Extreme ISO. I wouldn't trade it for anything currently on the market." Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. That's why I took the dive on the A10 Mini Pro originally. I've been doing it for 2 years with a couple multi-input capture cards on a PC, just some A10 specific features I'd like. Yeah, Epos Vox Adam, his name. He's like a pro streamer. I mean, the quality of his live streams, I don't think that I can compete with the technology he has and the amount of money and time invested into live streaming that he's done. So, there's that. I feel like my live stream tech setup is like child's play compared to what he's done. I feel like I've got the quality that I'm trying to achieve locked down, and I don't know if it's ever going to really improve. Do you do any private consulting? Your Play Any Video is exactly what I need set up. I have a brand new Stream Deck sitting here and I need some help setting up. Yeah, shoot me a message on Twitter. My Twitter is right there at TG Callaway, and we'll get you set up. And if you bought my extension, then I'll help you get set up for free, just so I know what challenges other people are having, because only a few people have actually taken the dive, which I can understand because it's a fairly in-depth tutorial, and I didn't make it sound easy. Although if you haven't done any custom setting changes to your Mac beyond, like turning it on and installing some software, then it's probably very easy. You don't actually need to go into the terminal and change anything. I should eliminate that step entirely. But yeah, I'll help you get set up. Just shoot me a message on Twitter. Roland says, there's no such thing as a dynamic shotgun microphone as far as I know. I love my RE20 dynamic microphone for vocal only work, but I have to work close up to it. I can position the AT4035 just out of frame. I don't know. I feel like the shotgun microphone is just really like a form factor. The cardioid, the super cardioid, the hypercardioid, just the pickup pattern specifically is, I feel like, what's interesting in terms of microphones. And then the technology of how they record sound is, dynamic or condenser. They use different technology. And then there's also like the ribbon microphones, and the electrostatic microphones. I don't even know anything about those. I feel like Curtis Judd should chime in any moment now. 4K streaming isn't the norm. Hassle and expense. Yeah, so it's not the norm yet, but 4K video, I feel like on YouTube isn't the norm yet. I feel like 4K is the norm for people in the filmmaker space, people who want to buy the latest lenses and cameras and then review them and talk about them and display what they're capable of. But like most of like the high view, high velocity entertainment style content, they're still uploading 1080p and in some cases 720, but I feel like everyone's graduated to 1080p. So 1080p streaming, I feel like still has another, at least 5 to 10 years of life in it before like 4K starts getting more popular. It's us in our little filmmaker bubbles and technology bubbles. We can, get, seduced by, being able to do 4K and stuff. But truthfully, I don't think that we're there yet. Although some people are, and it is very important to certain people. And for someone who's trying to record sports, right, and learn how that's done, I feel like sports, they want them recorded and broadcasted in like 60K, so it just depends. It depends on your industry and your interests. I think I've chosen my new body. I'm selling my Canon SL2 and Sony FS700R for two Fuji X-S10s. I don't really know much about the Fuji X-S10. I've had the X-T3 for a long time. I sold that. I really like the X-T4. In fact, if it weren't for the A7S III, I might have gone with an X-T4. So Fuji makes great cameras. My favorite thing about them, I think, is probably the picture profiles. Not the picture profiles, the film simulations. They have some wonderful film simulations. So Bleach Bypass was my favorite with that Fuji. Make some beautiful photos and some beautiful video out of those things. Fuji's a sleeper. They have some great cameras. I think that Sony is winning right now because of the cinema line. It mimics so closely with their consumer line. The A7S III can migrate into the FX6 and the FX3 so easily, and their lenses are compatible. And I feel like that's what's missing for Fujifilm, or Fuji, whatever. Which is also why I said I want a 4K pass-through, so you can still do the normal 1080p workflow for live, but 4K for post without swapping things around. You know what? I agree with you there. I would love, I think, to have all my cameras connected to the A10 Mini Pro 4K, right? And just record one show live, because I know when I'm going to want to show B-roll, right? Or like the second angle. Just so like, going between thoughts and trying to show the product, or maybe I don't have a whole thing memorized and I don't want to read a teleprompter, so I could switch over to the product and read from a script and then switch back to myself to share my thoughts. and it would all seem like one solid flow. But I could record that then all just with the A10 Mini Pro and then switch the camera angles and record a single clip and then just cut it up that way without wasting all the data of recording a whole bunch of different things. But then I'd have to make sure that the A10 Mini Pro would also allow like 10-bit 422 pass-through so I could grade it after the fact. And I'd have to make sure both cameras matched identically, because if I was just grading one clip, I don't know. It would definitely be useful for certain things, but not for everything. MKH416 is Bay. Yeah, I'll cheers to that. You get a whiskey, Kim. And let's go back to up here. I don't think I would be cheersing my MKH416, abusing the microphone like that. Although, I know they are very durable. I don't think I would abuse it. MKE600 should be most of the way to a 416 for $300. Yeah, but then it's not a 416, right? Yeah, it's probably most of the way there. Nothings. Why you always wearing black? Well, because Steve Jobs always wore black, right? It's just my thing, right? So I like black V-necks because, so really it's a choice of, I found a shirt that I really liked, and so I bought 20 of them. And they're really cheap, and so I bought like 10 more. It's just, they fit me really well. I have like a long torso. I'm 6'4", and it's just finding a well-fitting shirt is really difficult. And so Costco sells a 3-pack of black V-necks, and I really like them. So I bought a whole bunch of them. And all the other shirts that I've ever tried, never bought, they shrink really fast, or they fall apart, or for the most part, they just really don't fit well. And so black V-necks, there we go. That's my outfit. And you know what? Now I don't have to spend any time trying to figure out what to wear. And it's probably saved me several weeks of my life looking over outfits, right? It's just a black V-neck. And you know what? If one gets dirty, just go change it. I've got the same outfit. Nobody will know. It'll just look like all of a sudden my shirt's clean. So why don't you always wear black? You know, a lot of people, I've learned after doing this that a lot of people wear the same outfit all the time, and they have just like 20 of them. And most of the time, it's like the most efficient, most productive people. Though it's not a requirement to be a productive and efficient person, I just noticed that that's one of the traits that a lot of people that are productive also have. So, I don't know. And I didn't do it because I wanted to be more productive. I did it because the shirt fits well. Got my A10 Mini Pro today. Loving it. Hell yeah. Congratulations. The MHK 50, or is it the MKH 50? Has a richer sound for spoken word than the MH416. In my opinion, it's also $1,200. Interesting. I'll have to check that one out. NTG3 was cheaper. Pretty happy with what I get per dollar. You know, the Rode VideoMic Pro, Rode VideoMic NTG, is that the one? This one right here. Sometimes I forget the names of all these microphones. There's so many of them. Yeah, the Rode VideoMic NTG. It sounds incredible for the price. And if you don't need an XLR shotgun microphone, you know, if you just get this thing real close to you, it sounds so good. So just, you know, it's how you're going to use it, what you need. You don't have to spend $1,000 to get good sound. I use the XLR microphones because I have XLR recording equipment and I need to process it. You know, I need raw, 32-bit audio and stuff. And so I use XLR microphones into my recorders. But this is a fantastic piece of equipment. And you can get great sound with like almost any microphone. So don't think you have to spend $1,000 to get good sound, because you don't. It's just it's like user interface and stuff is like super important. Thank you again for the $10, Richard Robinson. Thanks for all the hard work putting these shows together. I really appreciate that. That's awesome of you. Thank you. Hit the like button, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Camera Junkie. Here, you know what? Let's go back to this guy. You get a cheers. Boom. All right. Here we go. Consider 4K for high school graduation. Live streams coming up, but it's hard to find an SDI solution that isn't expensive. Yeah, 4K live streaming gets considerably more expensive, especially if you want to have more cameras connected. It just gets really expensive. But Photo Joseph also is a great resource on live streaming. So if you do want to do 4K streaming, I know that he has like an entire rack dedicated to 4K streaming. That guy's got a lot of money invested into his live shows. XS10 is between the XT3 and XT4. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to have a look at it. Although I do have 3 A7 S3s now, so I think I'm sticking with Sony's ecosystem moving forward. That was like a hard decision that I did, just to stick with one system so I didn't have to buy a whole bunch of lenses and a whole bunch of batteries and a whole bunch of different types of media. It saved me thousands and thousands of dollars and several hours not going away from, going all into the Sony ecosystem, which I really love. You always do amazing reviews of high-end lighting setups. Have you thought about doing budget shout out for those of us new and want enough quality for a reasonable price? Yes. So I did do a video on, and here we'll go to the whiskey can while I talk about this. I did do a video on what you get for the money at different price levels. This was several months back now though, and the lighting game has evolved so much since then that I feel like maybe I should do an updated video. I went through like $100, $250 to $500 to $750 to $1,000, $2,000. So I went through all the ranges of prices, and I feel like that was one of my best videos. It took a really long time to make, but I feel like it provided the most value. So maybe I will go through and do another updated version for 2021, the year that doesn't suck as bad. And so maybe I should do that. But yeah, thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, there's a lot of really great budget lights out there. I'm going to call you MW. Hi there. In your opinion, can the FX3 be still good but cheaper alternative to FX6 or FX9? If not, what camera is perfect for cinematic video but still affordable? Cheers, mate. Yeah. So I would go with the A7S III instead of the FX3 because unless anything has changed, it's still more affordable. It has the same sensor, the same processor, uses the same lenses. It's the technology in the A7S III is the same as the FX3, but the FX3 has a form factor meant for different applications, which you might not be able to achieve with A7S III. For instance, having a bunch of different threaded mounts on it so you can just attach it to certain pieces of equipment without having to get a cage. I would never buy the FX3 because I have the A7S III and it's less expensive and it will achieve identical image quality because it's the same camera. It's just got a different body. So if I were to get another camera, I would go with the FX6 because I feel like the FX9 is way too overpriced, or just way too expensive, and the FX6 will achieve, anything that I can't achieve with the A7S III in terms of run and gun with the XLR inputs and stuff like that. Just all the different things that really is the variable ND. The FX6 is why I would get. The variable ND is why I would get the FX6. Without that, then I would just get more A7S IIIs. Tommy, do you indulge in still photography at all, or are you 100% oriented toward video? So I do still photography for my thumbnails and for Instagram. I will set up a shot and take photos specifically for social media in terms of Instagram or for my thumbnails. So I do still photography still. I used to carry the camera around before I was ever interested in video at all. I would carry a camera around with me pretty much everywhere, to and from work, all the time, just to try and learn photography, because I was fascinated by, different perspectives of looking at normal things. So maybe next stream I'll share some of my earlier photography, because I think that, it's fun to look back at that stuff. But so I do photography, and I think that almost everyone who does YouTube still does photography simply because of thumbnails. Because that's an entirely different art. You can't just take a screen cap from a video. There's all the best thumbnails are intentional photographs, most of the time anyways. I'm still going to contact you next week for sure. Found the Mix Effect app. It's brand new the other day. Wasn't sure if it would also play videos like your setup, which is why I asked. Well, thank you. Yeah, shoot me a message. I'll let you, maybe we'll learn something. Maybe we'll both learn something. Check out iMix 16 Pro 64 on Mac OS or iOS. It can be queued via OSC. Dude, I'm 6'7". I feel you. Yeah, dude. Us tall people gang over here. Have you ever hit your head on a ceiling or like a small doorway? Because I've done it. So I feel like you definitely have done that. I'm using the Sanken CS3E, also a beast of a shotgun. Yeah, dude, Sanken makes some crazy shotgun microphones. I think it's the Sanken, I don't know if it's the CS3E or a different one, but there's one that has like a range, a pickup pattern that's like a toilet paper tube, right? Or a tube that's just like this. Like it won't pick up anything. Except for you need like a laser pointer on that thing to pick up sound with it. But when you do, you can pick it up from like 50 feet away and it'll sound like you're right there. They have some crazy microphones. Kevin O'Leary has 25 of the same suits. Yep, see? So that's it. I'm just the black V-neck guy. I'm like Kevin O'Leary. What's up, mate? Cheers. Here, you get a whiskey can because I haven't had one in a while. Cheers. Boom. You need 30. How often do you do your laundry? The black V-necks. I do it every week, but sometimes I'll miss a week, and it's nice to have 20 backups. Do you think that Falcon Eyes will ever graduate to richer software ecosystem like Aperture? I love the portable F7 Folds, but the iOS control software is atrocious. The only way that they'll graduate to more mature software ecosystem is if they get a lot of feedback on social media from people like us about it. So shoot them messages on Twitter, blow up their social medias, talk to more people about their software ecosystem, and then it'll happen, because they build tools that people want to buy. It's just like any other company. Or like Aperture. Aperture listens actively to their consumer base, and then they build tools for them. So, Falcon Eyes is the same way. It's just they're not really an American company, so maybe you have to be a little bit more vocal, or at least their marketing team isn't in America. Every 30 days for laundry. Would you recommend the Sony a6400 or the Fujifilm X-T3? I have experience with a lot of experience with the Fuji X-T3, and I really, really, really like it. So if you don't need a flip out screen or in-body image stabilization, then the Fuji X-T3 is an excellent camera, and you can find them very affordably used. So yeah, great camera. Get it with the 16-55 2.8, and you'll be a very happy camper. Looking for a camera for my videos. If you see my videos, the quality is all right. Looking to upgrade. Yeah, you'd be very happy with the X-T3. There's really nothing wrong with it. The only thing I really don't like about the X-T3 is that the HDMI out port is the little micro HDMI, and that really pissed me off, because going between full-size HDMI, mini HDMI, and micro HDMI, it's like the biggest pain in the ass ever, especially if you have a bunch of different equipment that you connect your cameras to. So I really like that the A7S III has all full-size HDMI outports, which is what I used with my GH5, which was also a great camera, but it had a lot of its own shortcomings. I'd go X-T3 or more likely the XS10 GDR Rally. X-T4 from Fuji, if you're looking for, so the X-T4, if you're deciding between the X-T3 and the X-T4, the difference really is the X-T4 has in-body image stabilization and a flip-out screen, and the X-T3 has the other tilty flippy screen, but not the flip-out screen. But it does not have image stabilization. So in my opinion, I really like the X-T4 more, but it is also more expensive. Also, the X-T4 has a bigger battery, so it'll have better battery life. And if you're getting the X-T3, you need to get the actual Fuji brand name batteries, because if you get the cheapo knockoff Wasabi batteries or whatever they are, after just a few months, they're going to swell up, and then they can get stuck they can actually get stuck in the camera itself. So, you have to spend money on the batteries. That's just like a thing that happens. A6400 is what I use in the studio. A6600, not necessary for studio uses. It really just adds IBIS. Yeah, I like the A7S III, and we'll go over to the Whiskey Cam here, which is also an A7S III. And you know what? Let's put another one in there for good measure. I really like the A7S III, which is why I sold all my other cameras and bought a whole bunch of them. So I have 3 of them. I mean, if you're going to ask me for the best camera recommendation, I'm going to tell you it's the A7S III, because I sold my Red Komodo, my GH5, my Nikon Z6, the Fuji X-T3, and I went all A7S IIIs because I like it that much. In fact, I also I made a LUT package, and in that LUT package, I made a LUT that matches to the Red Komodo. Pretty close. It's obviously not going to give you Red Komodo footage, but I made the colors match because I had a Red Komodo and the A7S III and color charts. So, I made a LUT that matches them, and I think that it looks great. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. You're welcome. I like IBIS in a studio video cam in order to damp inadvertent vibrations, but understand your logic. Yeah. Liam says, I instinctively duck. Oh, this guy's 6'7". The worst is the low-hanging lights in people's homes. Why the hell does a light need to hang 2 feet down from the ceiling? You know what my biggest gripe is when I go somewhere and they've got like a ceiling fan on like full blast and it's at like 5'7". Why would anyone do that? I mean, especially in like modern structures, places that were built recently, I feel like they're just like lawsuits waiting to happen. Although I'm also in America, the most litigious society in the world, so maybe that's a thing. The XS10 has a flip-out screen and IBIS. Nice. While being less than the X-T3, Fuji batteries are going to make me cry. I don't want to buy 4 to 6 of them. Yeah, see, that's also another reason I went all A7S IIIs, because I bought 6 batteries and I have a full set to use all 3 of my cameras all the time. 3 cameras, 6 batteries, and they all swap. They're all interchangeable. It's so nice. Frederick says, did you ever try any of Elgato's key lights? Need a more higher WAF? What is a WAF? Than Godox ML60 with softbox and grid on autopull. Only use 10 to 20% power, so the brightness should be fine with key light. So I've never tried Elgato's key lights. I know that Adam over at Epos Fox, he talks about those Elgato lights, and they're not awful. They're meant for streamers and they work, right? It's some light is better than no light, but from me, I'm going to tell you, you should spend as much on lights in your lighting setup as you did on your camera, your lens, your camera and lens setup, including your tripod. So consider your tripod, how much you should spend on grip and light stands and C stands and modifiers. And then the camera and lens and SD cards and stuff, that's how much you spend on like lights and batteries for those lights if you need, VMAT batteries and stuff. So I'm not going to recommend the Elgato lights because I've never used them, but there's lights in the $100 to $300 range that work really, really well for professional filmmakers. You know, so I don't know if I were going to say Godox ML60 with a softbox, or like the Falcon Eyes light, you know, it also depends on your use case. Do you need a light that can also be a hard light, or are you just going to have a key light? You know, the Falcon Eyes lights are amazing for a big soft key light because they also come with a grid. But the Godox lights are a little bit more versatile because they can be a hard light. They can be modified more. It just depends. And we're going to try and power through this because it's 11 o'clock, and that's usually when I try and turn these streams off. So let's go through some of these last few questions here. I'm a little behind. XT4 can be powered over USB-C. Actually, the XT3 can be powered over USB as well. You just need to get a really powerful USB. I found a tool that will do it, and it's the Hawkwood's D-tap to USB converter. I talked about it on some of my other streams, so I'll have to go back and find that. He's talking to Frederick, so if you have any questions for me directly, tag me so I can read them before the stream gets shut off. So I'm not going to read comments tagging other people here. The wife acceptance factor. WAF. I'll accept it. Wife appreciation factor. Okay, so more than one person knows about this. Should today be more of PAF partner appreciation factor? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's go with a whiskey can for cheers to appreciating your partners. Cheers. Also, after the stream ends, if you want to follow me on all those other things, you know, Twitter, Instagram, @TGCallaway. You can find me there. And last comment here. Thanks. We'll consider Falcon Eyes for compactness over COB with softbox and +1 on PAF. You got it, guys. All right. Well, thanks for coming to the stream. And I guess what I'll do to end this stream tonight is I'll find a video that I like, and I'll share it with you guys using my little script, which lets me instantly pick anything from Finder and play it over the stream. I'm going to go with the 300x zoom in shot because I didn't prepare anything else and I'm tired. Good night, guys. I just realized that it switches back to my main camera after the clip is over. I was like, I'm going to fade to black and this is going to be so cool. So yeah, there you go. Good night, guys.